What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Christian and Frank from Linemaker Sports, and we are back, and we are talking playoffs. The NFL is officially in playoff mode, and we have 6 games. Usually we have 4 games this week, but we have 6 that we need to go through, and we should just get right to them, Frank, because I'm excited to talk and probably talk mostly about this game because it's my favorite game of the weekend, and it's the first one that we get on Saturday.
And I want to cut you off real quick because I actually want to talk about something in the NBA before we get
Let's
to
do it right
the
now.
NFL thing. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA and something that we've seen happen where Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving, man, I don't know if this guy, honestly, I don't know if he even wants to play basketball because I feel like he finds every excuse in the world to just make an excuse and just does not want to play basketball whatsoever. In the Nets game against I'm kind of drawing a blank. Who did they play last night?
Brooklyn. They played Philly.
Yeah, there you go. Against Philly last night. So up until game time, it looked like everybody was playing. Both teams were going to be full force and everything like that.
Bets were in.
So we go all the way till right before tip, and then now Kyrie isn't playing. And what's the reason he's not playing is because he don't feel like it.
Well, first of all, it's not just that he wasn't playing. They couldn't get a hold of him.
Yeah.
So even Steve Nash said, I reached out to him and I didn't hear back. The next thing is a report, which obviously we're just going to go off the report. Kyrie hasn't spoken yet, but the report is that he just didn't feel like playing, which to me is a slap in the face to the Nets organization.
Just to the sport in general.
To the league, to Adam Silver. He pretty much just took a shit on the league last night.
And I feel like that he just does not want to play basketball, and he finds every excuse in the book to not play. Now, I know the Jacob Blake thing, everything is serious. All that stuff is serious now. But
at least
you got every other player in the league.
He didn't even say that was the reason.
Yeah, I know. And you got every other player in the league out there playing, and yet you got this dysfunctional guy that doesn't want to play the sport, and he just says, you know what? I don't feel like playing tonight.
Because we're just speculating, right? You didn't even hear anything.
I didn't even hear that. I'm just speculating that's the reason he's using that, because he uses any reason possible to not play a sport.
Exactly.
So he goes and says, like, yeah, okay, I'm just not going to play tonight. Now, I don't know about any of you, but if you're at your work and you're at your job and you just call them up and you're like, listen, you know what? I'm not going to go to work tomorrow. And they're like, oh, are you sick? You're like, nah, I just don't feel like it. I'm pretty sure that you're probably going to get fired the next day that you go in there.
I would agree.
I don't think it's right that being an NBA player, you could just think that you could go out of the way and just be like, you know what? Guess what? I just don't feel like playing. I'm not going to play tomorrow. I'm just going to stay at home. Is that cool?
Do you think Kyrie would be okay if his personal trainer pulled that shit on him?
Exactly.
That's how he has to see it. But
nobody would. Nobody would be okay with that. And that's just the thing that, like, again, like we've addressed previously with the NBA players, it's just, it seems like they just think they have way too much control over everybody.
Well, that's what I'm curious to see, because if I'm the Nets also, I mean, if you're Kyrie at this point, the least you should expect is that you're not getting your paycheck for that game.
Yeah, well, easily you shouldn't be getting paid for that game.
But I honestly, I swear to God, I would almost be more surprised if the Nets didn't pay him than if they just paid him.
Yeah.
Because this is how these teams are doing this. Like, I feel like to not piss off the superstar, he'll still get his game check, and he'll even, to be honest, if he just said, you know what, I'm having a bad day and I don't feel like coming in.
Yeah.
Even under those circumstances, in my opinion, business is business. The team should not pay him.
Yeah.
I guess like it's a personal day.
You still got to come into work. I mean, that's just what it is. You still got to come into work. Like I said, an average Joe going to work every day, you just pull some shit like that and you're like, listen, I don't feel like working tomorrow. I'm not going in. You're probably going to get fired.
Right.
So the same stipulation should be with him. There should be no difference with that. I'm sorry, but if I'm the GM, I'm president of the Nets organization, I got Kevin Durant, so honestly, I don't give a shit. I don't even need you, Kyrie, to be honest with you. Like, it's nice to have you with us, but you're going to pull some shit like that and look like you don't even want to play the sport? I mean, honestly, we don't need you. I got Kevin Durant. What do I need you for?
It's just that it's a disrespect to the team.
It is. It's disrespect to everybody. It's just a disrespect in general to everyone.
And maybe I'm a little like more lighter on this than you, just not necessarily on this situation. I'm just saying if he was like, hey, I need a personal day, you know, he doesn't have to give his reasoning. So maybe this is him being overly honest by being like, I just don't feel like coming in. So a personal day is a personal day. And I don't know how the contracts work with the league, but like, that's one thing. But to just have the disrespect to say, I don't feel like it, that's where it's a problem to me. Because now this is setting the precedent to all the other guys.
Yeah.
What if the whole team did that on the same day?
We just don't feel like playing today. How about, can we just sit out? Like,
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Like,
No.
No. So that's where, to me, that's where the problem starts. And also, like I said, I mean, I would, like, I guess you can't fine him because he could just be like, this is a personal day. Maybe they have a couple games they can miss based on, like, personal days. I don't know what the criteria is in an NBA contract. But I do think that there needs to be a conversation where it's like, hey, you need to explain to us, not to the media, not to, like, you know, us, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need to explain to your teammates why you're not there. And maybe they do that. Maybe that is going on behind closed doors and we just don't know about it. But for him to kind of play the public like that, it's just making him an enemy. I mean,
it is.
And that's his own doing. And to be honest, like, I've started to really dislike Kyrie. If he were on my team, like, based on just the knowledge that I have of the situation, he's more of a cancer to the team than Dwight Howard ever even was in the past. And, you know, like, so I don't know.
They should put him and Harden and Dwight all on the same team. That would be a disaster squad.
That'd be a soap opera.
that would be something that's just crazy. A bunch of players that just don't want to listen to anybody, just want to do what they want to do. It's just crazy. And all in all, to wrap it up, because we don't want to spend too much time obviously on this, but I do believe that Kyrie should be respectful to act like anybody in that situation.
Right.
And if you're going to just say that you don't want to work and you don't want to go to work the next day, well, there should be repercussions for that. Right. Just like a normal person that would have to go to work the next day and they just say they don't want to, they'd go in there and they'd probably get reprimanded for that. So he should get the same treatment. There should be no difference.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'd like to see coming down from the league. Like Adam Silver calling the Nets being like, hey, are you punishing him? Because if you're not, as a league, we are going to, because you can't go out there and publicly just disrespect everyone like that, including the league. Like, you know, so, I mean, I don't know. I guess if he's just being honest, that's great. But with honesty and with, I mean, he should be honest. Like, there needs to be some kind of, I don't know, like, punishment for that. Or, like I said, or if they have 3 personal days per year, there's one of them. Check. And the teams should just be like, he took a personal day. There's 2 left in his contract. Yeah. That's fine. And whatever. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it just looks like a big slap in the face.
It really is. It's just I don't know. I really turned to Kyrie. I don't like him whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's just creating enemies because it's making me really like his basketball on court stuff isn't worth it as much as it used to if you're going to be be off the court.
Yeah, exactly. So, whatever.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Let's
get you to a better mood because you had to talk about that.
That was something that was bothering me.
Yeah. All right. Well, the first game, like I said, is my favorite game of the weekend. I wish it was a night game because the Colts and the Bills. To me, the Bills seem like the most exciting. To be honest, I'm most excited to watch the Bills play this weekend out of all these teams. Yeah. And they're playing the Colts, which should kind of contend and make it a decent game. So I'm excited about that right now. The line is Buffalo -6.5. And we were just talking about this. It seems like a lot of people are betting Buffalo, but that line is not moving to 7.
Yeah, so something weird with that because, the public is all over Buffalo. And I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't be. The Colts defense is not that good, and their offense isn't that great. Buffalo seemed like a great all-around team, and a lot of people are heavily on Buffalo, but that line just will not budge and go to 7. I don't. It's very weird, and usually when that happens, it means the opposite play is probably going to hit. It's weird. It's very weird when stuff like that happens, when there's a heavy amount of money on one side, but the line just refuses to budge.
I could see it being a close game. I think, the Colts need to keep it close because if it becomes a shootout, you can't. Phillip Rivers against Josh Allen, to me, is no competition. Not with the receiving core that the Bills have.
I just really think that it comes down to the like we addressed last time is the regular season heroes compared to the contenders in the playoffs. Is Buffalo a regular season hero that balled out in the regular season and then they don't show up this first game of the playoffs? I guess we don't really know because you can't go by track record of Buffalo really because they never played like how they played this year in previous. So it's
that. I mean, and I will say though the running back for the Colts I'm blanking on right now. He's a rookie. Jonathan Taylor though, or he's a second-year guy I think. He's been playing well lately, and so that's the key to me in this game. If the Bills can stop him, the Bills will take care of business because I don't think Phillip Rivers is the sling it type of quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this should be an interesting game. We'll come back to it. We'll ask some more questions at the end after we go through these real quick and then start breaking down this exciting playoff weekend. The next game is the Rams at Seattle. Obviously, the big question is Jared Goff's thumb.
If he's going to play or not.
If he's going to play or not. That line started out at Seattle favored by 5. Now they're only favored by a field goal.
Which is probably because of the Goff situation, to see if he's going to start or not.
So this has to have you thinking that he will start.
Yeah, basically. Because, I mean, honestly, if you're LA, if you could have any sense of Goff that if he could throw a damn ball, then you're going to throw him in there, obviously, because you don't want the backup quarterback starting to play a playoff game, a win-or-go-home playoff game. You really don't. But their defense is really what's probably going to hold them in this game, is that Rams defense is very legit. They have a lot of superstars on defense, and they should be able to contain Seattle pretty well in this game. And that probably reflects why the total in this game is only 42.
Yeah.
It's just dropped right now from 42.5 to 42.
Oh, wow.
So, that's probably a reason why, is that the defense, and Seattle's defense has been pretty legit towards the end of the season. I mean, except for that stupid last week, 35 points in the fourth quarter. I don't know what happened there.
Right.
But other than that, they've been playing pretty well as to defensively. So
and these two teams did play each other in week 16, and Seattle won 20-9, and that was with Jared Goff.
And that was expected to be a really high scoring game. People thought that was going to be a really lights out game because Seattle's pass defense was last in the league.
Right.
And that's why I do think it really hangs in the balance of if Goff's going to play or not, because Seattle's defense has played well towards the end of the season, but they were the worst pass defense in the league. So we'll see how that really gels in. And I don't know, the 42 here is a little low. It's a little low for not a great defense. Usually when you see low totals, you like two solid defenses. This one's kind of like the Rams have a solid defense, but Seattle's defense is not that solid, but they've showed that they can be solid. So it's
depends on which defense shows up.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of tough right there in that game. That is a tough game to pick. Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole Goff thing, what's your hunch telling you? That he is going to play?
I would think that he'd play.
It's a fucking thumb injury.
Yeah, I know. Up. It's exactly. if you have any sense of you're trying to win a playoff game, he's got to play. I don't give a shit.
I think he's playing for sure.
If you could throw the goddamn football, then you need to be out on that field. If for some reason you can't throw the football, I mean, you gotta figure it out, boy. I don't know. I mean, it's playoff time. What the hell? We shouldn't be going to a backup quarterback in the playoff time.
Seriously.
There's no way.
And I think last time obviously Goff struggled against the Seattle defense. At some point, you kind of have to start figuring these guys out. And I think this is also just a play by McVay to have the Seattle defense waste some time studying for the backup.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
In the film room.
That could be a good
I mean, interesting the way the line has moved on that one, because even the way the line's moving is telling you Goff will play, but we will see.
We'll see.
And then the night game, also, I got to say, well, I'll get to it after this. The night game is Tampa Bay in Washington. The game is in Washington. A 7-9 football team is hosting a playoff game. Tampa is favored by a touchdown and some. They're favored by 8 points. Yeah. And the over-under went from 46.5. It's down to 44.5 right now. So people don't expect this to be a high-scoring game. Obviously, they expect the Tampa defense to be a little better now that it's playoff time. And the Washington defense has really been the only thing that's been good, solid and consistent for that team. Yeah. This is where I'll say this. I'm kind of disappointed in the way the NFL set up these matchups, because I would have done it the opposite. I would have had the Tampa-Washington game be the afternoon game.
Yeah, no, I prefer, like you said, the Buffalo game to be the night game.
Yeah, this shit's probably going to be a blowout. I mean, if it's not a blowout, it's just going to be there's no... It's other than Tom Brady and the receivers on the Bucs, there's nothing really exciting about this game that you're all right, I'm excited to watch this or that.
Yeah, no, that it has the makings of definitely a blowout. So
yeah, and so I would have flipped it. I would have put Tampa, Washington first, then either one of the other two second, and whatever. Because the other two games are actually, to me, exciting. If you got Goff, you got Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Cooper Kupp, you have Jalen Ramsey, Ndamukong Suh. You got all these playmakers in that game, and the same with the Colts and the Bills at least. So very weird.
Yeah, very weird how they structured that. But I mean, coming to this Bucs and the Washington game, a few trends that are in there that are obviously going towards the Bucs side too is the road team in this matchup when they played is 5-0 against the spread, and The Buccaneers are 5-0 against the spread against Washington. So these.
You're saying those are in the playoff matchups between these two teams?
Just when they play together head to head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when they play each other head to head, it's all favoring Tampa. So it's. That's why this line's probably moved a half a point from 7.5 to 8, which that doesn't even make any difference. The 7.5 to 8 makes no difference. All the way up to 9.5, that doesn't make any difference because you still need 2 scores.
So I mean, technically, you got some free points there.
If you
basically
think
they'd win by 9.5.
Yeah, you basically do. So that's going to be a something definitely to look at. Washington's defense, of course, wants to come for Tom Brady. You had Chase Young out there saying, "Oh, I want Tom Brady." Yeah. Well, listen, boy, you better watch what you wish for.
They're going to double you, probably.
You better watch what you wish for when you're going against Tom Brady, all right?
Yeah.
Playoff time, he's a different beast, and he's got a lot of weapons. This boy's got a lot of weapons at his use here come playoff time, so watch out.
I mean, I also don't think they're going to keep Brady in the pocket for long. It's going to be like quick passes here and there.
Yeah.
Because that is the only thing Washington has for them is that defensive line.
Yeah, that's it.
So, I mean, it's going to be just little slant patterns, and you have the receivers to do that. So, I mean, everything favors Tampa in this game. We'll see how that goes. Then we go to Sunday. Sunday, we have Baltimore starting off the day playing in Tennessee. I don't really care as much for the players in this game, but the teams, actually, I think this will be a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Baltimore's favored by 3.5 on the road in Tennessee. Or they started off favored by 3.5, and now that number's down to 3. So people are putting some money on the Titans, which are at home, and I mean, they're getting a field goal. So I kind of don't know where to go with this game because if you asked me 5 weeks ago, I would have picked Tennessee, and even then I would have been kind of scared. But then now Baltimore's been winning lately and playing some good football ever since.
But they've been playing some shitty teams. That's the
thing
too. So it's like they weren't really playing any good competition. Now, like I said, that Baltimore was definitely one of my teams that I was definitely like. I thought they were going to be way better than what they were.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Tennessee's kind of like a juggernaut. Like you don't know really what
Derrick Henry and that. Yeah.
Like they can come out and like score like 35 points right on you, and then they look great, and then they can come out and give up 35 points too, and not look that good. So I don't know. Tennessee's a little up and down, and Tennessee being at home. I honestly think this is a very tough matchup. I think this is a 50-50 matchup. Like I think
this is like a stay away because this is my scariest.
I think the +3 is a little bit too much. I think this should be almost like a pick. This should be
like
about there should be about a 50-50 shot in this game because both of these teams are pretty much they're both a little like you don't know which one's going to show up.
Right.
Like it depends on really which one shows up on each side. Who knows what's going to happen here? So
this might be the best game of the weekend as far as a football game goes and what it comes down to. The next matchup we have is the Bears and the Saints. For me, the big news out of this game is that Michael Thomas is playing.
Yeah, it seems like he's like the Kyrie Irving of the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know what
he don't feel like playing, and all of a sudden now he's going to play when it comes to the playoff time. I don't know. If I was Drew Brees, I wouldn't even throw him the damn ball.
So, I mean, he is one of the best receivers in the league, though. You can't take that away from him, but that gives New Orleans another weapon that they haven't been playing with, so they've gotten used to playing without Michael Thomas. So it's only going to be a plus for Drew Brees. Now, I mean, the Saints have gone from back-to-back years of letdowns pretty much in the playoffs. So there's pressure on this team, and they're at home, and they're favored now by 10 points against a Mitchell Trubisky-led Chicago Bears team. So
and I think Chicago don't even belong here. Honestly, I think this is a complete mismatch, and definitely in New Orleans in the Superdome. New Orleans should come in here and just take care of business easily. There should be no problem. They can't take care of business here. Chicago defense is all right, but defense has showed
they're not as good as they used to be.
They've showed that they can get scored on easily. So Drew Brees should be able to pick them apart here. Him, Alvin Kamara, they should be able to really withstand a lot, and they should be able to do what they need to do in this game to win. And Chicago, Trubisky's probably going to throw a pick or two. I could already see it. Playoff time, he's going to be a little shaky.
And if they're down, he's going to try too hard to bring them back and get all the points back at once.
So this number's about where it should be. Honestly.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think this is the most accurate number because before I would say that the Chicago defense will keep them in it, but they got torched by Green Bay last week. And I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, but still, they are just not the same. In past years, they contend and keep Aaron Rodgers
Only shakiness
close.
is New Orleans defense. New Orleans defense is prone. They can give up points as well. So, like you said, when there's big double-digit spreads that need to be covered, you need that solid defense, too, to be able to back up, your offense scoring. So that way there's not backdoor covers and stupid shit that happens. So New Orleans should come in here. They should take care of business. I'd be very surprised if Chicago comes in here and is even contending in this game, really.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like I said, the only thing I hold my head on is if Chicago's defense could just, keep them in the game. But yeah. I think that defense, like I said, is just not as good. A lot of veterans have moved on. Mm-hmm. And, it's just not the same production out of that defense that we know to be that great Chicago defense. So the last game on the slate is Cleveland in Pittsburgh. A lot of storylines from this game. The line has jumped around here and there. It started off the over-under at 46.5. That has gone up to 47.5. And Pittsburgh was favored by 3.5. Now they're favored by 6.
And that's probably reflecting the head coaching
right
for Cleveland. Not going to be there because he's got COVID or he tested positive or whatever.
Right.
But this is probably going to be a good game too, honestly. I think this will be a good game. Now, the problem I have with this is that I feel like Pittsburgh's taking the Browns a little lightly.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the Browns, Browns are the Browns. They are. But they're a little different this year.
I agree.
They're a little bit. They can play. They can play this year. I mean, they showed that they can play. And Pittsburgh, I don't know. When Pittsburgh takes teams lightly, which they shouldn't, it happens all the time though. When they take teams lightly, they end up losing.
Yeah.
So you got to watch. Pittsburgh's definitely got to watch out here because you got a lot of young players. And from what we're hearing, they're not taking it too serious, and they're just thinking the Browns are probably going to steamroll the Browns.
Juju came out and said it's the same old Browns, and he just has not learned his lesson.
I know.
If you're a veteran on that team, veteran, you got to grab him and be like,
you can't take any team lightly, though. It's the NFL. Any team could be any team on any given Sunday. That's just the way it is. So it's you can't really go in there and take Cleveland lightly. They do deserve to be where they're at. They played pretty well this season.
Yeah, so, I don't know. This game, like I said, obviously the line has moved because of that. And, Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger didn't play their last regular season game. They rested a lot of their guys. So,
and I think that reflects this number as well. Because
they played each other. They played each other.
Yeah, they played each other at the last game. And then Pittsburgh sat all their players, and the Browns barely won the game.
Yeah.
So I think that reflects this number as well because the Browns, barely won against their second string team. So now they're thinking probably Pittsburgh's going to go in there and blow them out. Which,
actually, after saying that out loud,
I don't know.
They only won by 2 with Mason Rudolph and backups.
No, that's what I'm saying. But Mason Rudolph performed like how Ben would perform. He performed pretty well. He threw for 300 yards and a touch. He performed the same like how Ben would perform probably this week. So it's
true.
If he performs the same, is the same result going to be the Browns win by a little bit? Who knows? I don't know. I hate when Pittsburgh takes teams lightly. When they take teams lightly, they lose.
Yeah.
It always happens with them for some reason. So they should have never have said anything about this game and been we're not going to take them lightly. The Browns played very well this season. Yeah, we got to go in there and we got to stick it to them.
They were on their ass all season for the division. So I don't know. All right. Well, with that, we'll lead to our free picks, our free plays, however you want to call it. Mm-hmm. What is your best pick?
Well, my free play probably is going to be I'm switching it up here because I thought about something, then I'm going to switch it up here and give you guys. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Okay.
I'm going to take them with the points because I just think this shouldn't even be nowhere near a close game. Tampa's offense is high-powered, and their defense is not that bad either. So Alex Smith, I don't really see him going to be doing too much. He's probably not going to take too many risks. He doesn't take that many risks when he plays anyway. He's usually a little dump off here and there, dumps him off, doesn't really take too many risks. And I think Tampa should come in here and just absolutely just put the hammer down and just make a statement right here in the first playoff game. Listen,
it's time.
Yeah, it's time. We're here to play. We can play. So you guys don't got to worry about that. We're going to contend. So this is definitely a statement game for Tampa with Tom Brady being the QB first year in the playoffs. Let's see what you guys got. I think they got enough to be able to steamroll Washington.
Yeah, I like that pick. And I'm switching it up too because I was going to go over in the Colts-Buffalo game. But then when we talked about the Rams-Seahawks game, even though the line has gone down, I'm just convinced that Goff is playing. I think the last time it was one of the most fucking boring games of the season, and it ended 20-9. I think they'll get 2 more touchdowns in this game.
I mean, and the thing is that the last game between these two, the total was 54.5.
Right.
So that's
true. Man, you have a good memory.
Yeah, and it's definitely this is now like dropped like 12. That's like 12 points right there.
Right.
And they expected it to be a 54-point game last time they played, and that was when both teams were at full strength.
Right. And
so I honestly like that pick too, because it's like you're getting some value there, taking the over in this game.
Yeah, I don't think it takes much. I think obviously I just look at the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, I think he's got to put up over 20 points for his team.
Yeah.
And
it's not only that, is that Russell Wilson does, even against great defenses, he can still shred great defenses.
And he'll figure them out. Yeah. So I'm going over on the 42. Now we're going to do a little something, Frank. I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
All right.
Who to you cannot afford to lose this weekend? And it would be just, who would you be most disappointed on?
Steelers.
What one team?
Easily.
Steelers.
Easily.
All right.
Easily the Steelers, because like I said, they played great. They were 11-0 team, and then they're 1-4 in those last 5 games. And people are expecting like real big things out of them, and then they're gonna come into this playoff time, and here it is. Like, are you guys a contending team, or are you just gonna get outed by the Browns? Like, they got the most to lose, I think, out of everybody here.
All right, so I think the team with the most to lose is New Orleans, because obviously it starts with the Minneapolis Miracle. You have that, which you should have had that game won. Yeah, you lose easily. It. Last year you played the Vikings again, and what happens? Same thing. You're at home. You're favored by a touchdown. Kirk Cousins comes in, and the Vikings win in overtime in the first round of the playoffs. So you're out again. Both those years, they were Super Bowl favorites, or like they were supposed to be in the Super Bowl. This year has been kind of the same story. And obviously, too, with Breeze, reports coming out that this is his last season. They're favored by 10.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to go out like that, losing to Chicago.
You're playing an 8-8 football team with Mitchell Trubisky, and you're at home. And I get it, no fans, whatever. But this is the team that, to me, has no excuses. Mm-hmm. At least Tampa, you could say, like, oh, it's the first year. The Clippers in their first year didn't win the chip. The Miami Heat team with LeBron didn't win, whatever. So that's the excuse for Tampa. Seattle, LA, they're not really looked at like that. Buffalo, they have a lot to lose, but Josh Allen's still younger. He's not a Drew Brees, so less pressure on him.
True.
So to me, the New Orleans game, that's the one I'm watching that I don't think New Orleans can afford to lose.
I agree with that. I don't think they can afford to lose either. And I just do not think Drew Brees would want to go out like that in the first round of the playoffs and to the Bears at home. I don't think he'd want to go out that way.
All right. And
I do agree with that.
Now I'm going to ask you, what team would you most expect to upset the other team?
To upset the other team?
Yeah, so who's your, it's like a money line, let's say, but what team do you think has the
best chance? What underdog has the best chance to
winning?
I'm going to say Tennessee.
Okay.
I think Tennessee at home against a shaky Baltimore squad that looked good at the end of the season, but they were playing shitty teams. I think that they obviously, I think they have the best shot. Being a home dog is pretty big when it comes to playoff time. So
fair enough.
And I can't flip side and say Washington, because I don't think even Washington has a shot against Tampa.
See, all right, so here's where I'm going to hit you with, I think it's Cleveland. I think Cleveland has everything. By having everything going against them, they kind of have everything going.
Yeah, they have a chip on the shoulder.
People are like, oh, it's the same old Browns. Kevin Stefanski, their head coach, is not there. And Pittsburgh, like you said, has a history of just kind of, laying down. And
against the shitty teams.
And what have we seen from Pittsburgh in the past 3-4 games that they actually had their starters in? Other than that comeback win they had against the Colts, which they were down like 24-7.
I know.
And I think the Cleveland defense is better than the Colts defense. So I think if Cleveland finds a way to control this game, remember too, Cleveland can run the football.
Yeah, they can.
Pittsburgh can't. They don't.
They don't.
So, Cleveland, if they just focus in on stopping the passing game of the Steelers, I think Cleveland could do it, and I think they can upset Pittsburgh. So to me, that's the underdog that I think I could see winning.
Those are two solid plays, I think, honestly. Those are two nice underdogs to have. I think, either way, I think both of those teams.
I wonder what the money line parlay would be, Tennessee and Cleveland. That might be
I'm thinking Cleveland. I'm not even looking at it right now. I'm taking a guess. At -6, I'm sure Cleveland's probably at plus about 210. I'd say. And then Tennessee's probably like plus 145 is what I'd have to go with and say.
So right now, we have Tennessee is plus 155, Cleveland's plus 225.
I was close.
Yeah, he knows his stuff.
I was close, but putting them two on a parlay, that would be a good payout. That's a good little minimal underdog risk.
A little bit on there.
A little
you never
underdog
know.
risk there.
Yeah,
that's not bad, but I do agree with that. Now I want to talk about one more thing too. Is because we probably won't get this out in the next show because it probably happened. The national championship.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about the national championship against Alabama and Ohio State.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a phenomenal game. I'm actually really looking forward to watching it. I think I definitely prefer to see Ohio State rather than Clemson and Alabama again. That I feel like every goddamn year that's the national championship. But in this matchup, I'm really interested to see it because Ohio State. They're a fun team to watch, definitely. They're definitely a fun
Justin
team to
Fields,
watch.
hey, he made a statement last game.
He did, and he played well and got hurt, and he went in there with being hurt and just was balling. That boy was balling and just throwing dimes. I mean, there were some passes in there that made me question that this guy's the best quarterback in college because I was like,
I tell you,
this guy was throwing some darts. He was throwing some deep passes that were just like right in the hands of the receiver. The receiver couldn't even drop it if he tried, honestly. I don't even think, some of these passes were great. And he was hurt while he was doing it.
Yeah.
Goes against Trevor Lawrence and just shows up Trevor Lawrence. He just showed him up, basically. And then Alabama, you already know what you're expecting from Alabama. This is just a wrecking squad.
It's a machine.
Yeah, it's just a squad that just, feels like they could score at will whenever they feel like scoring. They went against a team that probably shouldn't even have been in the playoffs in the first place, Notre Dame.
Right.
That shouldn't even have been a team that was in there. And that game wasn't close whatsoever, but Notre Dame covered the spread backdoor in that game. But that's something stupid that we don't need to discuss that happened. But
somebody sounds upset.
It's just, I didn't even have Bama in that game. But it's stupid that shit like that happens. There was 12 seconds left in the game and they scored a touchdown to cover the spread. But
damn
but the game wasn't even close. But I think this is going to be an interesting game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm excited to see how Justin Fields plays because already the whispers are coming out. Is he better than Trevor Lawrence? Is he not? Yeah. If he comes out and has another amazing game like that,
Alabama, you take down Clemson and Alabama,
and you win the championship game.
Oh man, I think you jump off in front. Yeah,
the Jets may have Trevor Lawrence because he might not be the first pick if Justin Fields can ball out. Really? But the crazy thing is, I've heard a couple experts talking about the other kid. Is it not BYU, but he's another quarterback that
for BYU.
Is it BYU?
Yeah, Zach Wilson. Yeah, he's pretty good too. He was.
Some people have him higher than Justin Fields.
He balled out this year. He was a really good player.
But I just don't know how you. I guess it's the Carson Wentz theory where he was at North Dakota State, and so it was that's what I'm doing. I'm North Dakota State, man, and so I'm just BYU can't compare to Ohio State and Clemson.
Yeah.
So I have Zach Wilson as a third best quarterback, but I don't know why people were putting him ahead of Justin Fields, especially after last week's game. But I don't know. That's what I'm watching. Justin Fields could potentially, if he has a good game here and his team beats Alabama. They don't even have to beat him, I think. I just think it depends on how he plays.
Now, the problem I have in this game with Ohio State is Ohio State's defense. Their defense is really shaky.
Yeah.
And Alabama's offense is
What's the Alabama quarterback? Mac Jones or something?
Yeah.
Why is no one talking about him? Is he not coming out? College better than me.
I think he's just he's a little bit overshadowed because of the Heisman winner, which is a damn receiver this year.
Smith,
which that hasn't happened in a while. Receiver comes out and wins the Heisman. But he's being overshadowed by him a little bit. But Mac Jones he's a good quarterback as well. He can throw some dimes.
There might be a lot of good quarterbacks.
But Najee Harris, the running back for Alabama too, that's like a Derrick Henry. These goddamn running backs for Alabama are just so legit. Every goddamn year, I feel like these guys are just top-notch running backs coming out of Alabama. So Ohio State's defense here is a little shaky. Their defense will give up points. Their defense will definitely give up points. And Alabama, I don't know. Alabama's defense is always been a great defense. They've always been known for being a great defense. And Nick Saban in a championship game going against Ohio State, this is going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch it. And hopefully I mean, I can't give a pick in this game. Obviously,
No. You hold off. Yeah, but if you want to pick, Linemaker Sports is where it's at.
Yeah.
And Frank's got you covered.
This is definitely going to be an exciting game. It's something definitely everybody's probably going to want to tune in and watch because this is going to be fun to watch with all these stars that are in these games at quarterback, at receiver, at running back. This is going to be a good game to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Not as much as you because I think you were more with the college stuff. Me, I'm excited just because to see and kind of in my own way evaluate these guys moving forward because obviously their goals and they're probably a lot of these guys going to be great NFL players. So that's what I want to watch. But before we let you guys go, I wanted to tell you about this. Did you hear about the Deshaun Watson stuff?
Yeah.
He's unhappy or whatever. He might get traded.
Here we go with this again.
So I'm just saying, I know I'm not with the whole two parts to the story. The first part is where I'm gonna be how I've always been, where I'm just like, he got mad because the GM or the owner didn't run the GM hiring by him. Which to me, I'm like, that's above your pay grade.
Exactly. Yeah.
That has nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
If you want to be treated like like a GM, then go be a GM somewhere. But you're a player. And these guys, I mean, I get it. It's happened though. You know, LeBron does decisions like this is just the world that we live in. And I call me old school, but I'm just like, hey, if I work in my business, if I'm working on the show and the show wants to hire a singer or whatever, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, well, they have to come and consult you.
I don't have to be consulted about anything. If it doesn't affect, my performance per se, which, I mean, he could make the argument it affects his performance, but it affects what's being built around him.
I mean,
it's one thing if he were like,
it's
one thing if they were like running by him who the quarterback's coach would be.
Yeah.
That I understand because that affects you directly, but when it's the GM, dude, like that's above your pay grade. That has nothing to do with
these players. In all these leagues, all these professional leagues, these players, they gotta chill out, man. They gotta stop thinking that they have control over ownership and GMs and presidents and like.
They're giving them that leverage though, so I get where they're coming from because you're being allowed to do that.
You shouldn't get that leverage. You shouldn't get that leverage whatsoever. Like you said, it's above your pay grade. Listen, sit down and play the goddamn sport. Like you're getting paid to be. Stop worrying about what's going on above you. Don't worry about what's going on above you.
Control
what above you trickles down and is shit, well then that goes on them. No, okay, so what happens to Deshaun Watson if they come to you and they're like, well, whose GM do you want? Which GM do you want to hire? Well, I want to hire my buddy over here. He'll be a great GM. And then they listen to Deshaun Watson hire somebody, and then he comes in and makes a disaster of the whole organization.
I mean, what's going to happen when LeBron wants, let's say, a certain head coach, and Anthony Davis wants a certain head coach?
Yeah.
You know, like that's why I can't get to that. That's my opinion, because if you give the player that power, then you're technically separating the players.
The
from
way
each
I feel
other.
with LeBron, when you take LeBron as the aspect, I feel like LeBron honestly doesn't even really care who the coach is. He just wants a coach that's like a little bit of a minimal coach that doesn't want to take over the whole entire thing, and just let him basically do whatever the hell he wants to do. Yeah. That's how I feel like LeBron.
I know, but what I'm saying is, what if Anthony Davis wants to do it? Like, all I'm saying is
they shouldn't have nothing to do with any of it. It's not on them. Like, it's not. They play the game. No matter who's coaching you, that's not on you. That's on the above you. That's the president, the owners. Let them deal with what their job is. You deal with what your job is. Your job is to go out and perform.
I agree. I'm just saying the people above them are the ones kind of allowing them this leverage because a lot of the owners are doing that and going to Aaron Rodgers. And I mean, not even though they just drafted a quarterback, Jordan Love, without his consent, I'm sure, or whatever.
Yeah, and then they went like right after that and the media tries to interrogate Rodgers. Like, are you upset? Are you mad that they did that? What do you think? Are you going to retire?
I would be like, that has nothing to do with, like, that's not my business. Yeah. Just like when trades happen and they say that's not my place to speak on, I agree with that. I think it's the same thing. Yeah. So anyway, that was part one. But part two is, what if the Vikings get him? And as a Vikings fan, I think that would be really freaking great. Because
I like Kirk Cousins, to be honest. I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
With their shaky offensive line,
their defense is what needs to be fucking. Their defense needs to be overhauled. Their defense is atrocious.
They had 4 starters out and they had rookies out there. So I think
they literally had their defense out there guarding the Capitol the other day, and you've seen what happened.
That is exactly true. That should have been a meme. The Minnesota Vikings defense guarding the Capitol. It's just everybody getting through. Like it's
their defense is atrocious there for Minnesota. But that'd be cool. The Deshaun Watson, I like Deshaun Watson as a player, but again, you're a player. chill out, guys. You got to sit down, relax, play the game you're getting paid to play.
Right.
Stop worrying about other shit.
So
that's all I got to say about these goddamn NBA, all these professional goddamn players. They're starting to annoy me left and right.
It's just, but it's just kind of like I said, maybe we're getting outdated. Sometimes it might just be the leagues that we're in, but
then maybe you know what they should do? Maybe they should just get rid of the head coaching position, get rid of offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, get rid of everybody, and just have the players go out there and be like, here, go out there and play backyard football, and there you go. You guys make the plays and do whatever the hell you want.
Right. And what happens with that? But that's why I'm saying it might not be a problem right now, but it creates a problem later, because when Deshaun Watson gets in, let's say, or J.J. Watt's already there, leader on that defense. What if they both want, what if they run it by Deshaun Watson and they say, hey, what GM do you want? And he says, I want so-and-so. And then they hire that guy, and then J.J. Watt's like, you didn't run it by me.
Yeah, I'm the defensive star.
I'm the defensive star.
Exactly,
and that's why I just can't get to that.
So what, Deshaun Watson's more important than your defensive star as well? That's right. Exactly. So
and that's why
those should be avoided and not even brought into conversation what the player thinks of anything.
Yeah.
Unless you get the whole entire team in a thing, make them all vote and do all this shit like that.
Even that sounds fair to me, though.
Do that and have them all vote on, here's your contenders of who's going to be head coach and who's going to be this and this and this. Here you go. Team, vote for it. Because
and you can have a write-in if he's not in the candidate list.
Yeah, do that. Whatever.
But, all right. Well, anyway, we're excited for the playoffs. I'm pumped up. I can't wait. We get 2 full days of football. We get 2 extra games since now only one team gets the bye week. And I will say, between the 2 teams that are resting, last question, the Packers and the Chiefs, the 2 that aren't doing anything this weekend, who would you pick if those 2 met in the Super Bowl?
It's the Chiefs and the Packers, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I'm still probably going Chiefs. They got way too many weapons offensively.
It's so tough.
You got arguably the best player at each position on offense. That's except for running back, of course. But
I kind of feel
like it's just tough.
I want to go Chiefs, but I feel like Green Bay's more complete.
But they
have a running back.
Aaron Rodgers is dangerous playing like with a chip on his shoulder as an underdog, because he really goes in there and is like, I'm gonna stick to
Trevor,
these guys.
who you got?
I don't know.
Who do you got? Chiefs or Packers in the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to ride with Frank on this one.
That's true. Fair enough. All right. Well, that does it for this episode. We'll be back to recap all the playoff games. We'll probably talk some NBA. And keep subscribing, keep liking, and give us comments. Let us know what we can do better. So from Frank at Linemaker Sports, Christian, we'll see you next time.
Kyrie, you're trash.